my battle brothers and sisters, did you always want to know what is Warhammer 40,000, but you don't have time to listen to 2 hours long YouTube explanation that overwhelms you with too much information? Would you prefer to learn about this awesome universe in short, easily digestible lessons? Well, in that case, you're in the right place. Let's start by answering this basic question then: what is Warhammer 40,000? Simply put, it's the most popular tabletop wargame on the planet. But for its origin, we have to go back to 1983 into the great U of K. At that time, company Games Workshop was looking for a way to increase sales of Dungeons & Dragons miniatures. They came up with an idea to make a simple wargame that would be given out for free to people buying D&D minis. The man tasked to create this game was none other than Mr. Rick Priestley. That's right, Rick Priestley, not to confuse with Rick. Thus, Warhammer Fantasy Battle was born. Unexpectedly, this game became really popular, and shortly Games Workshop decided to expand it into sci-fi genre and start selling conversion kits where miniature soldiers would be able to fight with laser weapons instead of swords. But in the end they decided to create a separate product line, and once again Rick Priestley has been asked to come up with the sci-fi version of his Warhammer Fantasy. And he did! Thing is, Mr. Priestley has been working on the side on his own sci-fi tabletop wargame called Rogue Trader, having all kinds of ideas about it. But in the end he incorporated many of its elements into the sci-fi Warhammer and called it a day. Influenced by Tolkien, Lovecraft, Dune, Paradise Lost and of course Dungeons & Dragons, this was a huge hit when it released in 1987 and soon became Games Workshop's main product. Originally the name was supposed to be Rogue Trader, but at the time GW obtained license to develop a board game based on a comic book Rogue Trooper. Therefore, as to not confuse the customers, Rogue Trader was simply named Warhammer 40,000 and advertised as a Warhammer Fantasy spin-off, which in many regards it was. Now that we have the answer, let's look at the real question here, which is: what actually is Warhammer 40,000? 40k, as we in the know call it, it's a brutal, dark, fictional universe set around the turn of the 42nd millennium. Although for the most part it's science fiction, it happily borrows tropes from fantasy, movies, comic books and pop culture. The setting itself revolves around grim future where humanity is in the state of a total war, besieged by hostile alien races on all sides. Technical progress and social understanding is no more an option. Only dogmatic views and belief in your own superiority rules across the galaxy. And the galaxy itself is populated by following factions. The Imperium of Mankind, an empire under which majority of human planets are united, beset by alien races, mutants and heretical cultists trying to annihilate them 24/7, humanity has become a race of futuristic space Nazis ruled by a dogmatic church views. They kind of split into 5 separate sub-factions, but about that later. Clearly, this is the best faction, and if you think otherwise, I will have you executed for heresy. I am an Inquisitor, after all. Forces of Chaos. Exactly as it sounds, these guys just want to ruin everything for everyone, like the Karens they are. There are many dark gods in the warp, but amongst the strongest is the unholy quadrinity of Khorne, god of anger, violence and hate, Tzeentch, god of change, backstabbing and intrigue, Nurgle, god of death, disease and decay, and Slaanesh, god of lust, greed and excess. Next, Eldari, or Eldar before copyright happened. Space elves that possess all the tropes of their fantasy brethren, dying race of up-nosed pointy-eared bitches riding such high horse that can't even see how far they have fallen, believing in their own superiority that is long gone. As if that was not enough, there are also Dark Eldari, aka Drukhari, space elves' younger siblings that went full emo and they look like they are listening to Marilyn Manson albums while having Hellraiser trilogy on constant repeat at home. They are hunting down feeble and the weak so they can drag them back into their city and have a power wank while watching their prisoners suffer for eternity. If that's not your cup of amasek, how about Necrons, once a dying race that gained immortality by turning into Terminators. Most of them became basically just walking Alexas, able to do simple tasks as guard this and attack that, but the ones who kept their brains about are always more than ready to unleash their armies in pursuit of extinguishing all life in the known galaxy. Orcs. Artificially created race that only thinks about war and how to get a bigger weapon, as their tiny brains can't hold much more thought anyway. They are as funny as they are deadly, and their only goal in life is to have a good fight. In case there are no enemies, fighting each other is the next best thing. Probably the only happy race in the 40k universe, as there is always someone or something to fight about. Now this is one for all you filthy weeaboos out there. Tau, race that came out of necessity for Games Workshop to appeal to the Asian audience. Space commies whose society is divided into working classes, all striving together for the greater good. And when they encounter new friends on their travels, they give them a simple choice: join Tau Empire in servitude or have a last shot put through your simple brain. Last but not least, Tyranids. Vicious, animal-like species ruled by a hive mind who can't be intimidated or reasoned with. Their only purpose is to devour everything living, consume its DNA and use it to enhance the next generation. Inquisitorial side note, resemblance to your ex may not be incidental. Have you chosen your favorite faction? Not yet? That's okay, we'll talk about each of them in more detail later. Now you know what Warhammer 40,000 is and what the universe is about, there is just one last question remaining. What the hell is actually Warhammer 40,000? Sure, Warhammer is a horrible universe. Nazis, corruption, degeneracy, religious fanatics, needless violence, political fanatics, evil backstabbers and assholes are everywhere. At glance, there are no good guys to choose from. And this brings all the Karens into the yard to complain and shout how it is all bad for kids. But Warhammer is also about courage, sacrifice, friendship, duty and responsibility. This universe serves as a mirror, a stern warning how each of us can end up if we stop thinking for ourselves and give into our low instincts, don't check fake news and just go with the flow. I personally believe that Warhammer shows us the worst in humanity, so we all could become the best we can. And that is why I love Warhammer and would like to get you involved as well. If you managed to watch the video until now, you have earned a purity seal of approval and are already better than my usual audience, so kudos to you. I thank you for your time, and if you enjoyed this video, hopefully I will see you at the next one. Until then, the Emperor protects!